Back in episode 1 of Killing Whiskey History, I reviewed a 2-ounce bottle of White Horse blended Scotch from the 1960s. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at a much bigger bottle of White Horse blended Scotch from the 1980s. The White Horse brand was created in the late 1880s by Mackey and Company, the then owners of Lagavulin Distillery. It was named after the White Horse Inn in Canongate, Edinburgh, which had been in the Mackey family a lot longer than Lagavulin Distillery had. The White Horse in the image was said to have either belonged to Mary Queen of Scots or the innkeeper. But either way, the White Horse is part of the heraldry of the House of Hanover. Now back to the whiskey. Mackey and Company had Craigellachie Distillery built in the late 1880s to help support the malt needs for its blends, such as White Horse. They later got their hands on Glenelgin Distillery and half of Cragganmore Distillery. The man behind much of White Horse's early success was Peter Mackey, and he passed away in 1924. In 1927, Mackey and Company was sold to DCL. Today, we know DCL as Diageo. Now, you heard me mention a whole bunch of distilleries here. We've got Lagavulin, Craigellachie, Cragganmore, Glenelgin. They were probably in a lot of the versions of White Horse over the years. Today, I have no idea what's in White Horse because with DCL at the time this was made and Diageo, those companies own a slew of distilleries throughout Scotland, so there could be a lot of different things in the mix. There are 3 aspects to this White Horse blended Scotch whiskey bottle that reveal its bottling date. Firstly, its alcohol is measured in proof, not ABV, so that sets it 1989 or earlier. Its liquid volume is measured as 1 liter as opposed to 1 quart. That sets it 1980 or later. Finally, it has no federal tax stamp. Federal tax stamps started being phased out in 1985. Taking those 3 elements together, this whiskey was bottled between 1985 and 1989. It's time to open up my big liter here of 1980s White Horse. I'd kiss you, but I don't know where you've been. There's so much candy right up front, which is totally shocking because I've never smelled that in White Horse before. Cinnamon Red Hots and Twizzlers. There's cinnamon sticks and cinnamon schnapps. I mean, it just smells like whiskey dessert right off the bat. There's a little bit of mintiness, some grassiness to it. There's a beef stock note that is starting to open up with time. And some people might link that with the historically sulfuric quality of Craigellachie Distillery. The peated level is very muted. It's almost like stones and dust as opposed to smoke or ocean or seaweed or anything like that. The grassy note keeps growing. So yeah, between the cinnamon and all that grass, this feels like young whiskey. Solange. The palate is simpler than the nose. It's also a lot hotter than I expected, which sort of supports my thought that this is very young whiskey. A little bit of graphite, pencil shavings, a little bit of anise, and a little bit of mint leaf. There's some herbal bitterness to it and some earthiness, but nothing that's clearly peaty. Forget about Lagavulin. I've had Craigellachie single malts that have read more peated than this. The bitterness continues into the finish, and there is just a touch of cigarette smoke in it. Because I'm feeling a bit uninspired by this palate, and because it's 90 degrees outside right now, I am going to make a highball. I had very little interest in making a small highball. I made a healthy sized one. So while that sits and percolates for a moment, let's see if this has opened up at all. The nose is still really expressive. I'm even getting like maple syrup in here now. The palate's fine. I'm not getting much else from it other than maybe a little bit of bitter chocolate. It really hasn't opened up much in 20 minutes. And now, for the highball, complete with my glass straw. And there is nothing offensive about this. This is very drinkable. This is very drinkable, but it's fine. It's fine. It's inoffensive. It's totally inoffensive, despite the fact that I'll probably enjoy this cold whiskey beverage. This version of White Horse, I think, could have used, a 43% bottling or higher. Plus, it could really have used a bigger dose of Lagavulin. There needed to be something else, whether it was fruit or smoke, to really give it some angles. It has no angles at this point. It is a young whiskey. It may have a lot of malt in it, but it's still a young whiskey with not a whole lot of character, which is kind of inexcusable for the 1980s when there was a glut of good single malt that was being used in blends at the time. If you have a bottle of 1980s White Horse and you've opened it and you love it, please let me know in the comments. If you have a bottle of 1980s White Horse and you've opened it and you hate it, please let me know in the comments. For now, I'm just going to enjoy that highball and try to appreciate what I've got.
Papa!
Sounds like my time is up.